It is true. Sales performance doesn't improve by pressure alone. It improves through leadership, clarity, and consistent development. We know that the teams that reach the next level, they're not the ones that are simply working harder. No, they're led with purpose, coached with intention, and equipped with the mindset and systems that turn effort into sustainable results. I'm so excited for this conversation. Come on, let's get into it. Welcome to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast, where leaders don't just talk about transformation. No, we lead it, we live it, and we ignite it in others. I'm your host, Adrienne Benton, and today we're diving into a topic that directly impacts growth and culture and results. That's right. We're talking about how to take your sales team performance to the next level. I'm super excited about our guest today. His name is Shad Tidler, and I can't wait for you to meet him. Why? After doing my own research, I see that he is a leader who understands that elite sales performance is built at the intersection of accountability, coaching, trust, and strategy. Let me tell you a little bit about Shad. Shad is a seasoned member of the Lushan sales team since 2014. He combines his extensive global business expertise with the disciplined mindset of an Ironman triathlete. Specializing as a leading sales transformation consultant, he's known for crafting scalable strategies and processes tailored for client success. Shad's structured approach instills a sense of calm in clients, guiding them past immediate challenges towards their goals. And it is my honor today to welcome to Transformation Station, Chad. Welcome. We're so glad you're with us today.
Thanks, Adrienne. Appreciate you having me on today.
Absolutely. Well, in preparation for this, I was thinking to myself, when we talk about taking a sales team to the next level, to myself, after having over 2 decades in leadership, I was thinking that in order to do that, it requires more than just goals and a quota. I have found over the years that it requires things like confidence and sharpening skill sets, creating clarity. So I want to start off by asking you this question. From your experience, what are the biggest factors that separate average sales teams from high performing sales teams? Talk to us.
3 big things.
Okay.
Strong will to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Strong, we call it sales DNA, or think of beliefs that are going to help and support, and strong tactical skills for elite sales teams. But then also the piece layered on top of it, and you said at the beginning, Adrienne, is strong management that's supporting and helping guide them through that. So when I say strong will to sell is you've got to have people who are motivated. One of the things is, how do I motivate people and hold them accountable? Yes, there's so much you can do as a leader, but if your people aren't coming in motivated already for their own personal goals and reasons and relating that to, if I get better from selling, I go out and achieve more, I do it faster, I do it easier, it helps me get there. You're not going to be able to motivate them. So many leaders go, well, I want to motivate my people. I go, well, if they're not motivated to start, you're not going to.
Correct.
Things like, are they really committed to getting better, right? Just because they're motivated doesn't mean that they're going to be committed to getting better. I always think it's like professional athletes, like the ones who become the Hall of Famers, they're committed to doing stuff that even the other great ones who are professional athletes, and that's already great in its own sense, aren't willing to do. Same thing with your salespeople. Like they're wanting to go out and practice to get better. They're willing to put themselves out in tough situations that are outside comfort zones, and to ask tough questions, and to look to improve, and to get mentors, and to get help, right? Because they go, I want to be the best I can be. If you think of what we call sales DNA, there's beliefs and biases that either make it easier or make it harder when we're selling. Things like we call it need for approval. Well, what this is if I'm more concerned people like me and approve of me, then they respect me, then I'm going to have a hard time asking directly for what I want, or even picking up the phone and possibly calling somebody out of the blue, because you go, that interrupts them. They're not going to like it. I don't want to do that. right?
Mhm.
So things like that, beliefs like I can't ask or talk certain things or say certain things. So it makes it harder, take more time, effort, and energy to get to the goals. And then finally, it's the tactical skills. Do they
Mhm.
have the skills and tools and know how to use them consistently in their own voice so it's natural, all the way from getting in front of new folks and building relationships and being able to uncover what truly would drive them to make a change and the value they bring, and then being able to talk budget and align on effort and energy and how decision gets made and ask for the business and close it and grow those accounts. So those
Mhm.
three things, and then you have the management piece above it is, well, do the managers have the will to manage those salespeople, right? And
Correct.
those drives and
Correct.
that. Do they have the beliefs that are going to support that they can have the accountability or motivating conversations or coach them? Do they
Mhm.
have the skill sets? So those are kind of big three areas I see that the great teams have when they've got all that together, figured out. There,
Mhm.
that's jiving versus the teams that are average where they're missing key pieces.
I love that. So here in Transformation Station, we always invite our listeners and viewers to take a moment and pause and let it soak in, right? So Shad has already been giving us a masterclass right here. And I want to invite you, you got to go back and watch the replay, but even right now, just pause and take accountability and awareness of what is resonating with you as you're hearing this conversation. You know, Shad, as you were talking, what resonated with me is one of your three items there in terms of you got to have people that want to sell. And you as a leader, you need to have the will and the desire to lead.
Mm-hmm.
It's a two-way street, right? You got to have that desire to lead, like authentically lead, right? Not just be authoritative, but lead.
Yep.
And you have to have the people that they want to sell, they want to grow, they want to devour it. I love that. So let me ask you this question, right? How can we create a culture of accountability and motivation that drives consistent, that word consistent, right? That
Mm-hmm.
drives consistent sales performance. And here's the key, without burnout.
Yep. Well, Adrian, the question I like to ask people is like, what causes burnout?
Mm,
And if you think about it, burnout is it's not only, I'm working hard and I'm putting in a lot of hours and time, effort, and energy. Burnout comes from when I lack a sense of purpose of why I'm doing it. Right. So if you think of that as part of that whole that measure, that motivation, accountability has to be, is there a reason why, a sense of purpose of why people are doing it? And whether that's, it starts with their own personal, like it goes back to what I was saying before about their own personal goals and drives and things. And does the leader understand what that is individually for each person? And then how do they help them get more of that? And so many people go to, and so many leaders I talk to throughout the years go to, well, they're money motivated, they're in sales. Well, no, there's actually three types of motivation. There's extrinsic, which is the money motivation and the tangible rewards. Then
mhm,
there's intrinsic, which is I want to be the best salesperson I can possibly be, and getting coaching, training, development, and hitting and exceed my own goals drives me. And then there's altruistic. I want to help as many people as I can, even if it means it's at my own detriment. I'm not getting what I need, but as long as other people are. If you
mhm.
as a leader don't know which of those three is like, we've got all three within us, but which of those three is truly what's driving someone, then you're trying to motivate them in the wrong way. And if you don't know, well, what does that mean specifically for them? So that's where it starts. And then
Mm,
accountability is just, okay, now that I understand what you're trying to get to, what's important, and we've laid out from the company goals, here's what we need to do to get you there, right? To help you, whether it's, make a certain amount of money so you can, use for your family or house, whatever, vacation, whatever it is, or if it's, hey, to get to be the best your goals, and by getting you to do more and improve, that will help you get there. Or if it's to
mhm.
help more people, and by you improving or doing more will help more people. Once I've connected those dots, I now need to lay out a plan with you to go, well, how are we going to get there? Not just I've seen this too many times, like, okay, great, your goal is $1 million, go to it.
Right. No.
Well,
Right.
even the best athletes go, best
Right.
salespeople go, I want to have a plan so I can be
Yes.
surgical and intentional versus just I'm going to buckshot a bunch of stuff and hope something hits along the way and somehow I get there. Well, you got to
Right.
help out that plan, then go, okay, along that way of that path with the plan and these things we're tracking and measuring, we're going to have these check-ins to see, are we on track, are we off, and what do we need to adjust, but always relaying it back. It's so you can hit these goals for the company, which gets you the goals that you want. And now
Mhm.
it's a purpose and it's motivations for their reasons, not yours.
Listen, you are hitting on some key points here. Key points here. And, when you were talking, I was thinking about this leadership principle, which says accountability drives performance when it is paired with support. And that's exactly
Well,
what you were talking about there. And to
mhm.
every leader, you're listening and you're watching, this is a great place for assessment, right? You're driving your team, you're giving them the mission, the metrics, but are you giving them the support? In order to see consistency, accountability has to be paired with support in order for you to see that growth. What a really valuable point that you have led us to, Shad. So let me ask you this: what are the key items to structuring my company to grow faster?
Yep, 4 key items.
Okay.
It builds in the things we've been talking about, right?
Mhm.
Accountability, motivation, coaching, et cetera. But it starts with, and you just said it a minute ago, um, the vision and mission.
Mm.
What is really what we're going after? Not just that here's the goal a year from now, three, but what are we going after and why? That's the
Mhm.
story. And it may surprise you, may not. Across various industries, I've seen so many leaders and organizations that they've started a business and it's going, but they've never stepped back to go, where do I want this to go and why?
Mm.
And be intentional. And it doesn't have to be this grand, like, oh my gosh, you gotta spend all this time. No, just sitting down and going, this is what we're doing it for and why, right? And
Yes.
that direction, because if you can't clarify that and get clear in your mind, then your people won't be.
Mhm.
They're not going to get behind you in a line if they're not clear on what that is. So that first piece of strategy is the first key to
Mm.
growth. Is, are you clear on that vision mission? Are you clear on, here's our ideal? If you think of it from revenue growth, here's our ideal customer and what that looks like. That's going to help us get there. That we serve this vision and mission to. Here's where
Mhm.
we go find them. Here's what our growth strategy looks like, growing with our current clients and helping them more to the vision and mission versus getting new.
Mhm.
Being very clear about that. That's the starting point. Now, the next piece is the structure. You got to have this, like you said, the support for accountability, the structure. So, what tools do we need to put in place in order for us to grow to get there? Well, very first one is we got to have some sort of a process that we follow and be consistent with. And so,
Mhm.
mapping that out and going, here's what it is, and here's the problems, and here's how we're going to fix it, and then here's how we'll utilize this through our organization. Train and coach our salespeople to use and help them get effective using it in their own voice and style, so it's natural. But then
Mhm.
also using it as a tool for, if my salespeople are struggling, being able to coach from it and go, okay, hey, now we understand why this deal's off track, not heading the right direction. Now we can use it to get it back on, or maybe disqualify and go, this was something we shouldn't be after. Hold them
Mm.
accountable to that. We talked about breaking down the goals and going, here's our plan. Well, there's got to be metrics and measurements along with that and checkpoints. That's part
Yes.
of the structure. Even a structure of, how do I, as we grow, or if we turn people over, how do I go out and find and recruit new salespeople and evaluate them and bring them on and onboard them and ramp them up? Um,
Yes.
so many leaders I've talked to is they go, well, sales is this art form. It's nebulous. And they don't put any process or structure around it because they just kind of naturally do it in their head and they expect other people to. But the problem is that would be like going to your accounting department and go, hey, you guys are kind of like an art form of what you do. So just kind of go figure out how to bring in, like how to collect money and how to pay it out. Like you would never do that because like, it's too freaking important to the lifeblood of our organization. No, we've got
Right.
to have process. We've got to have checks. We've got to have measurements. We've got to know if we're on track or not. Same
Right.
thing. That's the second is structure. Third is your team. You got to be able to evaluate and go, what's there, what's missing. If we want
Mm.
them to get better, what do we need to work on? And then the fourth is we call the actual skills, and that's training. Going, okay, now let's train them up to be effective, so we can
Mm.
get to our goals, utilizing the structure and tools,
Mm.
utilizing what we learned in that third part, the staff piece of evaluating our team. So that way, we're not just throwing training and hoping it sticks, but we're actually training, coaching to get to the outcomes we want and to help them truly improve.
I love this. So then that takes us to our next question, right? Take us a
Mm-hmm.
little deeper. talk to us truly about the role that coaching, training, and leadership communication plays in helping our teams to continuously, right? Because what I hear you saying is not a one and done. This should
No.
be a continuous process, right? So, what role does coaching, training, and leadership communication play in helping sales teams to continuously improve our results?
And all three are important, Adrian. The number one that has the biggest impact is coaching.
Mm,
Um, and the reason why is because that's where you really help people go from theory to
mm-hmm.
application. And
Mm,
if done well, you're coaching individually to what's most important to them, right?
mm,
Or what's unique to them. Because, like, let's say you may be struggling with getting in front of decision makers, right? And maybe I'm struggling with, well, how do I can get in front of them, but I can't, uncover value, and it all
mm,
becomes about price. Well, I've got to coach individually to the problem that you're running into, and have the tools to be able to figure that out through a line of questioning, so I'm working on the right problem, and then coach individually to get you to discover what to do and not tell you. The
right.
biggest One of the challenges I see with a lot of leaders is they go, I'm moving really quick, I got 18 other things, I'll just tell you to get it done, check the box. Also, they go, well, it's easy for me in my head, I know how to fix this, so
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for you. And then they go, okay, and plus I've saved time by doing this. Well, the problem is all you've taught your person to do is come to you for the answer. And
Correct.
then you probably have heard this where so many leaders
Right.
come to you and like, my people just never can figure it out. And they ask me the same things again and again. The first question I ask is, okay, first off, what's the example again and again? I go, what's your process when they come to you? And most
Mm-hmm.
of the times you hear they go, well, I ask a couple questions. They say, here's the problem. I go do this. Why don't they get it? Because you've created what we call that learned helplessness. Now they just have learned, come to you, you solve it.
Mercy.
A great coach is like a doctor. They go, I'm going to diagnose first. What's the problem? Why it's a problem? What impact it's having? And then instead of just giving you the answer, I'm going to ask questions to get you to think from the training that we've done and the things we've communicated as a leader to you and through our company to apply those in a real life situation. And then I'm going to hold you accountable to where you're going to apply those. Because
Mm-hmm.
great coaching has to come with behavioral change.
Mm-hmm.
Not effective if you and I just let's spend some time. Oh my gosh, Adrian, that would work. God, oh, that's really good. If unless you go, here's what I'm specifically going to do and why and by when. So that way
Mm-hmm.
we put it into action. So those are key. It's always, yes, we got to communicate clearly what we're looking for and why, train people, but the coaching piece is the most critical. And one of the areas where most leaders in that role struggle immensely.
Mm-hmm. Leaders, what's resonating with you right now? I want you to go ahead and talk to Shad and I. Put it in the comment section. I know that your wheels are turning as you're looking at and thinking about your own environments and leadership experiences that you've had throughout the year. So share, share, share. Tell us right now what's resonating with you. So Chad, I'm a leader, right? We're leaders. How then when we look at the people that we want to hire, how do we more effectively hire and onboard not just an average salesperson, but a great salesperson?
Yep. Well, first it starts with ideal. Do you know what even a great salesperson looks like?
Mm-hmm.
Most times what people do is they go first of just, well, this is what my salespeople are like now. I go, okay, no. We're going to talk about what ideal looks like. Not only like what do you need them to do and clearly articulating that, but also the culture and personality, right? Like things like we talked about earlier, like that will to sell and drive. Like, do they have that? Like you want to articulate that. So they're very goal driven. They want to go out and grow. They're coachable. They'll actually listen and apply coaching and training. Being able to, like, this is their mindset and those sales DNA things, and these are the skills they have. What results have they brought in? If there's certain industry or industry adjacent that they need to have experience in, right? That's the first thing. You got to identify what ideal is and then clearly articulate that into your job description and into your ad. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
next piece has to be, okay, you're going to get a lot of people applying, but now that you've got that ideal, it becomes easier and quicker to weed out and go, here's the ones that look on paper that look like the ideal. Now, the next thing to go is the worst thing you do is go, well, I'm just going to interview them and kind of go with my gut.
No.
No, because people know how to say the right things and how to write the right things and how to tell you things that sound good. That doesn't mean that they actually can do what they say they can do and have those things.
Mm-hmm.
Next piece needs to be, there has to be some sort of objective assessment that is used to assess not only their sales skills up front, but are they the right fit to your selling environment? We use
Yes.
one through a company called Objective Management Group that is specifically for that. And it's to help us figure out, and our customers very quickly, do they actually have the sales skills you need as in general to be a great salesperson, but also fit to your selling environment. They've had experience selling to the decision makers, your size of deals, your types of industries, your types of sales cycles. All that's important because you could always get somebody from your industry, a competitor, their salesperson go, oh my God, they're going to be great here because they come from a competitor. The environment might be completely different from your environment, right? So you need something objectively to help now kind of weed the next group out. And then
Mm-hmm.
from there, now it's okay, do I have the skills and know the questions asked to really understand, do they have the experience? So many leaders go, hey, can you go out and prospect new clients? And they're like, absolutely, I do it all the time. And they take it at face value. Versus, how do you do that? How do you block time in your calendar? How do
Mm-hmm.
you get in front of them, especially in our industry where they're very resistant to being salespeople and so many are calling on them? What
Mm-hmm.
objections do you get and how do you work through those early on, right? Being able to ask, not just take it at face value, like, yep, I can do it, and it says on my resume, but how do you do it? And give me specific examples. Even things like role playing, like take your hardest couple of situations your salespeople run into and make the candidate role play it out. Like they're not going to know the ins and outs of your business and your world, but they should know how to handle those situations and what to do in those situations, regardless of if it's your company or not. Right. And then to your point, you made that last point of onboarding. That's where
Yes.
a lot of people forget in this process. They just go, hired a great salesperson. They should figure it out and they should take off selling. No, even the greatest, salespeople need to be onboarded appropriately in your organization. Also, it communicates to them, it's not our first rodeo. We know what we're doing. We're hired people before, and we see it's very important to get you off on the right foot and give you all the tools you need. So, do you even have a documented onboarding plan? Is it clear to everything that you need them to really figure out in the first 3 months and be able to start to apply to do? Where does ongoing coaching and training happen from there? Who's going to do it at what times? Right. And it'll never be complete. Like we literally just had a new guy start this morning with us.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here 12 years. Our iteration of our onboarding plan and the tools we use is vastly different from mine 12 years ago, which was the very first one we ever did. You will
Yes.
only get it like 80, 85% of the way right the first time. And even then it's ever evolving because you should go back to who you hired before and go, what did we miss in that first 3 months that would have made your life easier, helped you along? And every time we find little iterations. It's like, talk about this, or we need to train on this, or how to do this, or get me an application here. But that's what it needs to look like, and not just winging it, and then just throw them in and hope that they figure it out.
Yeah, as you're talking, I was thinking to myself, people love structure, even if they, buck against it or, they ask a million questions, but people like structure. And I like what you said. Like once people, they want to know that this is not your first rodeo, right?
Yeah,
They want to know that even when you hire when you get hired for a job, you want to know that you got hired because you were considered best for the job, not just because they thought you had a nice smile or you said one or two things that caught their
yeah,
attention, right? And
right.
so,
Real quick on that, like to that point is, you got to think as an employer, like I'm evaluating them going, I'm hoping they're like, I've done all my work, but are they really the right fit? They're evaluating you too, because they go, I left a situation that was not right. I hope to God I didn't walk into another one. And if you've got a good plan in place and go, okay, hey, here's what we're going to do to help. Now they're starting to go, that buyer's remorse is starting to go down because they're like, okay, I see the path, the anxiety is reducing. I made the right choice here.
yes, absolutely. So we got two more questions, right? But I want to kind of turn the direction just a little bit, not the corner yet, but turn the
Mhm.
direction just a little bit in terms of, so we have leaders, they're in sales, right? And I want them to get some more value out of this conversation, right? So talk to us, talk to them. What do we need to do to close deals faster?
Close deals faster. The number one thing you need to do is go, well, there's a few things. It starts with, am I in front of the right people that can make the
Mhm.
decision? A
Mhm.
lot of leaders don't have that problem, because, especially if you're owner, president, CEO, because you typically get the owner, president, CEO to come out of the woodwork, right?
Right.
Because title, but your people don't have that luxury. So are they getting in front of the right people consistently? Are they clear on who the right people are and able to get to them? Or if it's a complex buying group, identify and then pull those folks in at the right times.
Mhm.
Number two, is there a compelling reason for them to make a change from what they're doing now? And that
Mhm.
change could be, we have to buy your service or product. We just need to buy it from someone. So determining, should we go from who we use now to someone else? Or is it, in the world we're in, nobody has to do sales training
Correct.
coaching. So it's
Correct.
more about, why should we do this? But can your people uncover the compelling reasons for that? And then
Mhm.
also find out, are those reasons truly something they're committed to? Right? Adrian, it's like, we all have things in our life we complain about, but it doesn't mean I'm committed to putting time, effort, energy, and money behind fixing those things. Same thing with leaders. They go, I got competing priorities. It does not mean your product, service, or making the change to you is my top priority. Well, if we
Mhm.
don't, those things right there, compelling reason, top priority, decision makers, if those aren't stronger and clear up front, we are going to spend a lot of time trying to convince people to use us and try to close deals, or chasing them for deals that will never close. So
Mercy.
those three things are the biggest, like all the rest stuff that's important, but those three things are the biggest three that I
Mhm.
see across industries, across size of businesses, that deals stall out, don't close, is because of that.
I love this. I love this. I love this. Ah, I'm enjoying this conversation. All right. As we turn the corner on this conversation here, I want to ask you this final question. For leaders that are listening and watching that are looking to elevate their performance quickly, what is one foundational shift in mindset or process or leadership behavior that can create immediate impact?
Know your people and focus on them.
Mm,
So if we go back, two things I said earlier, coaching, very key. Well, that
mhm,
coach, focusing on them, because a great coach can't make it about me. Can't be
mhm,
about, I want to tell you how, how I would solve it and be how great, or I'm
mhm.
nervous if I ask you about this or talk about this, like that's uncomfortable for me, even though it's the right thing we need to ask or talk about. And I don't want to go there. You got to
Mhm.
make it about your people if you want to help them get better. And the other thing, when I say know them, is know what motivates them, know what drives them, and why. And if you
Yes.
can connect that back to the mission and vision and goals, I mean, I've seen it here. Is we do that a great. I will say we've gotten much better over the years, but in the last 5, 6 years, doing a great job. And people here in our organization, Lucian, will run through walls to get to accomplish things, because our leaders know us and what drives us and what's important to us. And when they coach, they're
Mhm.
not afraid to ask the tough questions and to push us in the vein of helping us get to where we want to get to.
Mm. Wise words. I love this. I love this. What an amazing conversation that we've had an opportunity to have today. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, because I'm going to go back and watch the replay. I know that there are leaders that are listening and watching that want to know more, want to know more. And so, what's the best way that our leaders can engage with you? What resources do you have available?
Sure. Best way is go out to our website there, lucian.com. If they'd like to engage with me, there's literally a button in the upper right that says talk to coach. They can drop down, pick me in it, fill out a form, and it sends me an email and says, hey, Adrian would like to grab time. And then I just schedule, reach out, schedule time. On there, we also have blogs, white papers, videos on various topics, be it selling, sales leadership, sales management, leadership in general, that people can go out and watch, read, grab, download.
I love that. 1000%. All right, viewers, we like to support all of our guests. So you see the link here on the screen. It's also in the description box. I want to invite you to go ahead and engage with Shad. I want you to reach out to him, let him know that you saw this particular episode, saw, heard it, and let him know also what resonated with you. Because, we believe the community that grows together, learns together, grows together. Thank you so much for joining us today and for adding so much value to Transformation Station. It's been wonderful to have you with us today.
Thank you, Adrian, for having me on. Great questions and great conversation. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, listen, I don't know about you, but I learned a lot today. What did I learn? Chad reminded me that when we start investing in coaching and accountability and culture, we create teams that don't just hit the goals, they build momentum that lasts. And if this episode today resonated with you, I want to invite you to go ahead and share it right now with 2 leaders in your network. And don't just share it, have a conversation about it. Matter of fact, share it with your team. Use it at the beginning of one of your staff meetings and then have a discussion. I want to thank you for joining us here on Transformation Station Leadership Podcast. And until next time, keep leading with clarity, keep coaching with purpose, and keep on building the kind of team performance that transforms all results.